I have transformed into the ethereal white moonlight of a sinister young man. To be precise, I am not the white moonlight of Pei Mingcheng. The fried rice I prepare is, in fact, his true white moonlight. The fried rice, priced at 4 yuan per generous bowl, is the finest meal Pei Mingcheng can procure. As a young boy entering junior high, in the critical stage of his physical development, he is allotted merely 5 yuan for daily sustenance. Even this meager sum is acquired through Pei Mingcheng's relentless pursuit of his father, who, in a drunken stupor, begrudgingly extracts 5 yuan from his wallet to provide for his son's meals. Should he fail to procure funds, Pei Mingcheng must endure the pangs of hunger during class. After experiencing hunger twice, he learns that if he cannot secure money, he will resolutely refrain from attending school. He scours the snack stalls and small eateries at the school gate, ultimately halting before my fried rice stand. I am engrossed in my bustling work, deftly preparing fried rice, inquiring about dietary restrictions while occasionally engaging in light conversation with my patrons. The small stall is alive with laughter and cheer. Pei Mingcheng, pursing his lips, fixates on the pricing chart of my stall. The most economical option is the fried rice, priced at 5 yuan per serving. He has only 4 coins remaining, having spent 1 yuan that morning on 2 steamed buns, which he consumed with water, leaving him far from satiated. It barely filled his stomach, merely serving as a temporary reprieve. As I finish frying the last dish for a customer, I wipe my brow and finally notice Pei Mingcheng. The shadowy boy from the book, destined to become a great antagonist, is merely a famished child today. Young lad, what would you like to eat? Pei Mingcheng licks his chapped lips and quietly asks, could I have the fried rice for 4 yuan? I tap the pot with my iron spoon, beaming as I reply, of course. Do you have any dietary restrictions? Pei Mingcheng shakes his head and shyly approaches, pressing 4 sweaty coins into my hand. I heat the pan, add oil, and once the temperature is right, crack an egg into the pan, the sizzling sound releasing a delightful aroma. I swiftly scramble the egg, then pour in the leftover rice, pressing it down with my iron spoon. As I stir, the fragrant scents of rice and egg intertwine, filling the air with an irresistible aroma. I add half a spoon of salt and a pinch of MSG, mixing thoroughly. Finally, I toss in a handful of chopped green onions and stir again. The fried rice, now perfectly distinct and delectably sweet, tempts the appetite. Pei Mingcheng stands nearby, his eyes glued to the pan, saliva threatening to spill from his lips. I quickly serve him the heaping plate of fried rice, urging, hurry and eat. Pei Mingcheng takes the generous serving and sits on the curb. As the first mouthful of fried rice enters his stomach, the gnawing hunger within him erupts in a jubilant rumble. He has never tasted such delectable fried rice. He shovels the food into his mouth, chewing a few times before hastily swallowing. In a mere 3 minutes, as I wash the pan, the once full plate of fried rice has been reduced to an empty vessel. Pei Mingcheng lets out a contented burp, removes the plastic bag from the plate, and tosses both the plate and the disposable spoon into a nearby trash bin. Watching him depart, I cannot help but reflect, what a polite and well-mannered child he is. Since the first time he savored my fried rice, Pei Mingcheng has been coming by daily, undeterred by the elements. He is an astute young lad. Whenever there are customers at my stall, he diligently tidies up, patiently awaiting their departure. When the coast is clear, he discreetly slips me 4 yuan, his eyes sparkling as they fixate on my iron spatula. Before long, a generous plate of fragrant, glistening fried rice is placed in his eager hands. Time swiftly passes, and in the blink of an eye, a semester has elapsed. The biting cold of winter envelopes the air as school closes for the holidays. And with no patrons in sight, I relocate my stall near the hospital. There I spend my days frying rice and engaging in light banter, leading a modest yet satisfactory life. In this world, I am a widow without children, relying on this small venture for sustenance. Fortunately, my culinary skills are commendable. The earnings suffice to cover my basic needs, while allowing me to save a little. On the 15th day of the lunar month, the sky is overcast, heavy clouds looming ominously. The sister next to me, selling fried skewers, swiftly wipes down her stove and peers at the sky, exclaiming, oh dear. It seems snow is on the horizon. I pull out my phone to check the weather forecast, which bears a yellow snowstorm warning. A heavy snowfall is imminent, prompting my fellow vendors to begin packing up, preparing to head home. After tidying my stall, the darkness deepens, and I grip the handlebars tightly, squinting as I make my way home. Tiny snowflakes patter against the roof of my cart, producing a sound akin to static from a radio. The wind intensifies, transforming the flurries into large, swirling snowflakes. Seizing the moment before the snow accumulates, I press the accelerator, quickening my pace. As I traverse the route from the hospital, I pass the snack street outside the middle school. To my astonishment, I find Pei Mingqing squatting at my usual spot, his thin jacket dusted with snowflakes. Upon spotting me, he springs up in delight, stumbling slightly as he rushes toward my cart. I swiftly hit the brakes as he reaches my side, his hands frozen and tinged with purple as he thrusts 5 yuan into my palm, lifting his frostbitten face to cautiously ask, "Auntie, I'm so hungry. Could you make me some fried rice?" Pei Mingqing sits in my humble abode, relishing a large bowl of fried rice. I pour him a cup of hot water and tease him, eating so hurriedly. "Aren't you afraid of choking? You silly boy. Slow down and have a sip of hot water." Obediently, he sets down his bowl and lifts the cup, gulping down half of it. The warmth of the food and drink comforts his belly, and at last, he slows his pace. After finishing his bowl of fried rice, he disregards my protests and insists on washing the dishes in the kitchen. I refill his cup with hot water, and after a while, his hands finally regain their normal hue. Having eaten his fill, Pei Mingqing lingers on the stool, casting glances at me, clearly eager to say something. "Go ahead. What's on your mind?" I pull out a bag of sunflower seeds, cracking them loudly. He takes a small handful, peeling but not eating, and soon enough, a small pile of seed kernels accumulates on the table. After several furtive glances in my direction, he musters the courage to ask, "Annie, during my break, I don't have money for meals, but I can help you work. I don't want any payment. Just a bowl of fried rice will suffice. Is that okay?" I assess his slight frame, barely standing at 5 feet tall and looking rather frail. It is evident he is still a child. "Which grade are you in? You can't be 16 yet. This would count as child labor, and if anyone finds out, I won't be able to operate my stall anymore." Pei Mingqing's face flushes with embarrassment as he lowers his gaze, muttering, "Auntie, I'm sorry for the trouble. I'll just go home now." He sets down the cup and slowly makes his way to the door, glancing back at me with a pitiful expression. I call out, "Come back." I haven't finished speaking. His hand, which had been resting on the doorknob, quickly retracts, and he scurries back to the table, his eyes fixed on me with anticipation. "If you want to eat here, you must be clever. If anyone asks, just say you're my nephew from my hometown. Otherwise, I won't let you help me. And you can forget about the fried rice, understood?" Pei Mingqing nods enthusiastically, a smile breaking across his face as he exclaims, "I understand. Before school resumes. I'll set up my stall outside the hospital. Just come by before 10 in the morning." "Yes, boss, I got it. All right, hurry home. I wouldn't want you to slip if the snow gets heavier." Pei Mingqing bounds away, and as I watch his retreating figure, I can't help but chuckle. He is still just a child. The next day, after preparing the ingredients for the fried rice, I drive my little cart to the hospital entrance. Pei Mingqing, clad in an oversized black cotton coat, stands at my stall, stamping his feet to keep warm. Upon seeing me and my cart, his eyes light up, and he quickly steps aside to make way for my stall. News of my distant nephew helping out spreads rapidly. Pei Mingqing is not one for many words. Yet he works with remarkable efficiency, packing, collecting payments, wiping tables, sweeping the ground, and cleaning the stove. He handles it all. I only need to focus on frying the rice. He takes care of the rest. Aside from his inability to call out to attract customers, he is the perfect little assistant. After a bustling morning, beads of sweat glisten on Pei Mingqing's forehead. Concerned he might catch a cold, I hand him some tissues to wipe his brow. He patiently stands beside the stall, eagerly awaiting my preparation of fried rice. I'm not the type of boss to be stingy. Today, I decide to add a sausage to his fried rice. Pei Mingqing, thinking the dish is meant for me, places it on the small table after receiving it. Having washed the pan, I notice he is still standing there, puzzled. "Didn't I just prepare your meal? Why are you still standing here? It'll get cold." His eyes widen as he gazes at the sausage fried rice. Then back at me. I wave my hand. "Don't just stand there. Eat up. The sausage is a reward for your hard work." Once he realizes the plate is indeed his, Pei Mingqing obediently sits at the small table. I pour him a cup of hot water, and he devours his meal quickly and with great enjoyment, though I notice he keeps rubbing his eyes. I haven't added any chili. Why on earth would his eyes be irritated? From the 16th day of the lunar month until the 30th, Pei Mingqing comes to help me each day. At noon, I whip up some fried rice for him, and after he finishes, he assists me in pushing the stall home. During our walk, I often engage him in conversation about his work or amusing anecdotes shared by other vendors, much of which is trivial chatter. Pei Mingqing tends to be quiet, listening intently as I speak. He doesn't seem to mind my rambling. Whenever I casually ask, What did I just say? He turns to me, his voice cracking as he replies, you just said that in your hometown, you eat 3-flavored dumplings during the New Year. Correct, the 3-flavored dumplings I just mentioned. Ming-chung, would you like to make dumplings with me? Though he doesn't respond verbally, his footsteps become noticeably lighter, and I can tell he is eager to join me. After pushing the stall into the cart shed, I take him to the market to gather ingredients for the dumplings. We purchase pork with a ratio of 3 parts fat to 7 parts lean, half a pound of shrimp, some dried black fungus, and half a pound of chives, everything needed for the filling. Once back home, I direct Pei Mingqing to peel the shrimp, remove the veins, and soak the black fungus. I measure out a pound of flour, pour it into a bowl, add an egg white, a pinch of salt, and a cup of water, mixing as I pour. Once no dry flour remains, I knead the mixture into a dough and let it rest in the bowl for 15 minutes. While the dough rests, it's the perfect time to prepare the filling. Scallions, ginger, and Sichuan peppercorns, steeped in boiling water and then cooled, are gradually poured into the minced meat mixture in small amounts and stirred in a single direction until thoroughly combined. Once the meat has completely absorbed the aromatic infusion, it appears exceptionally tender. I then add a spoonful of light soy sauce, half a spoonful of oyster sauce, half a spoonful of salt, half a spoonful of chicken essence, and a dash of pepper. After mixing it thoroughly, I call out, Ming-chung, please wash the chives. Pei Ming-chung obediently goes to wash the chives while I retrieve some wood ear mushrooms, chop them finely, and add the prepared shrimp, also chopped, into the bowl of meat. Soon, the chives are ready, and with swift motions of my knife, I chop them and incorporate them into the mixture. Finally, I drizzle a few drops of sesame oil into the meat filling and mix it well, completing the delectable 3-flavor filling. With the filling prepared, the dough has also rested adequately. Pei Mingqing stands beside the stove, watching as I knead the dough. After a few more minutes of kneading, the dough becomes incredibly smooth. I sprinkle a bit of flour on the countertop to prevent sticking, roll the dough into a long strip, and cut it into evenly sized pieces. I look up at Pei Mingqing and ask, can you make dumplings? He shakes his head. I take out a rolling pin and roll each piece into round dumpling wrappers, thicker in the center and thinner at the edges, handing one to him. Look, place the filling in the center of the wrapper, fold it in half. Pinch it with your fingers and gently squeeze. I release my hands, and a perfect dumpling rests in my palm. Pei Mingqing mimics my actions, adding the filling, folding the wrapper, pinching it and squeezing. Puff. The filling bursts out. I laugh, patting my thigh. Silly boy, don't use so much force. That's a dumpling wrapper, not a plastic bag. Pei Mingqing quickly grabs another wrapper from the table to patch it up. Fortunately, from the second dumpling onward, his creations resemble proper dumplings. We work harmoniously, one rolling the wrappers while the other shapes the dumplings. As we near the end of our dumpling-making session, I pull out 2 clean 50-cent coins from my apron and ask Pei Mingqing to place them in the dumplings. This is a tradition from my hometown. Whoever finds a coin will surely have a smooth and safe year ahead. Although Pei Mingqing seems reluctant, he allows me to insert the coins into the dumplings. After we finish wrapping, I count out half of the dumplings and drop them into the pot. The plump dumplings float in the water, while Pei Mingqing sits attentively at the dining table, his eyes fixed on the pot. After 3 rounds of cold water, the dumplings are ready. Pei Mingqing, unable to wait, grabs one and bites into it, juices splattering everywhere, causing him to gasp from the heat. I hold the dipping sauce bowl, both amused and exasperated, giving his head a gentle pat. Let them cool before eating. Silly boy, what will you do if your mouth blisters? Pei Mingqing takes the dipping sauce from my hand, hissing a few times as he cools his mouth down. After finishing the dumplings at noon, we realize we didn't find any coins. In the afternoon, Pei Mingqing fills a basin with water and, under my guidance, cleans our home inside and out, even putting up new window decorations and couplets. The winter night falls early, and by 5 o'clock, darkness envelopes the sky. It is time for Pei Mingqing to head home. Before he leaves, I hand him a lunchbox filled to the brim with dumplings. He accepts it, his eyes turning red. Thank you, Auntie. I can't help but laugh. You're thanking me too soon. Auntie has a New Year's gift for you as well. I reveal a pair of brand new navy blue snow boots from behind my back and hand them to him. Pei Mingqing can no longer hold back, dashing into my embrace and hugging me tightly, crying uncontrollably. I faintly hear him utter, Mom. I sigh and return his embrace. Stop crying now, be good. The new year is almost here, and it wouldn't be good if your eyes swell from tears. Reluctantly, Pei Mingqing releases me, wipes his tears with his sleeve, and bows deeply. Thank you, Auntie. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Mingqing. Hurry home. It's getting dark. I'll head back now. Andy, you should go inside. It's cold out here. Pei Mingqing watches as I step into the house, then takes the plastic bag containing the dumplings and boots, stepping carefully into the chilly wind. On the first day of the new year, Pei Mingqing, wearing the snow boots I bought him, arrives at my home early in the morning to wish me a happy new year. Auntie, happy new year. Wishing you prosperity. Without hesitation. He kneels on the ground and bows 3 times with great reverence. I can't help but laugh and quickly pull him up, shoving a red envelope into his pocket. Pei Mingqing covers his pocket, reluctant to accept the red envelope. I frown, shaking my head as I tap his forehead. You don't want your New Year's money? Silly boy, it's only once a year. Refusing it means you don't recognize me as your aunt. I say this merely to tease him, but to my surprise, Pei Mingqing takes it seriously. He relaxes his arms, allowing me to tuck the red envelope into his pocket. With teary eyes and a quivering voice, he says, Annie, I was wrong. I didn't mean to deny you. His tears catch me off guard, and I quickly pat his back. Annie was just joking. Don't take it to heart. On the first day of the new year, you mustn't cry. It's unlucky. Hearing this, Pei Mingqing stifles his tears. He pulls out a 50-cent coin from his pocket, proudly presenting it to me. I found a coin. I clap my hands, beaming with joy. This year will surely bring you smooth sailing and peace. As I eat the leftover dumplings, I feel something hard as I bite into the 5th one. Spitting it out, I find it is the 2nd coin. Pei Mingqing puts down his chopsticks, clapping his hands in delight. Auntie will also have a smooth and safe year. After finishing the dumplings, Pei Mingqing eagerly volunteers to wash the dishes while I leisurely snack on sunflower seeds, relaxing on the sofa and watching television. On the 3rd day of the new year, I begin selling food again, this time not outside the hospital but near a bustling commercial street. During the festive season, this area is particularly crowded, and the city management officers are vigilant. If one is not careful, both the person and the stall can be confiscated. Pei Mingqing has grown taller. Although still reserved, his keen eyes can spot the city management vehicles and uniformed personnel from afar. Thanks to his vigilance, I managed to set up my stall next to the commercial street for a week without being caught. On the 10th day of the new year, school resumes, and I returned to the school gate to set up my stall alongside familiar vendors. Pei Mingqing continues to come by every noon to help me, unfazed even if classmates notice him. When asked, he simply replies, the owner of the fried rice stall is my aunt. With this fabricated familial connection as a cover, his classmates say nothing more. Perhaps due to the good food here, Pei Mingqing has noticeably grown taller. His once ill-fitting black cotton coat now fits perfectly as spring approaches. The young man is starting to mature, his slender frame concealed beneath the oversized school uniform, and his handsome face, mixed with youthful innocence and a hint of melancholy, makes him quite the heartthrob. Even the older sister selling fried skewers next door remarks, your nephew is quite handsome. Many young girls, experiencing their first crush, flock to my fried rice stall just to catch a glimpse of him, turning my modest stall into a bustling hub. Thanks to him, I can wrap up my business early every day. Through snippets of conversation from these girls, I gradually uncover another side of him. At school, Pei Mingqing is aloof, speaks little, and excels academically. He is the teacher's favorite and regarded as a genius among his peers. He has few friends and spends his days studying or helping me at my stall during lunch. After sending off those girls, I skillfully pull out a large box of rice from the truck and heat up the oil in the wok, while Pei Mingqing wipes the tables, his gaze fixed intently on my iron spatula as I fry the rice. As the meal was being prepared, Pei Mingqing joyfully approached me, eagerly accepting the fried rice and indulging in it with evident satisfaction. I had presumed that such tranquil days would endure for considerable duration. However, that evening, amidst a torrential downpour, Pei Mingqing unexpectedly appeared at my doorstep in the middle of the night, knocking insistently on my door. I hastily donned a coat and, still bleary-eyed, hurried to the entrance. Who is it? I called out. Pei Mingqing's voice rang out. Aunt, it's me, Mingqing. I quickly opened the door, ushering the drenched Pei Mingqing inside. I lit the stove, tossed a towel over his head, and fetched him a thin blanket. You foolish boy, take off those wet clothes and dry them by the stove. Aren't you afraid of catching a cold? I dashed into the kitchen to prepare a bowl of ginger syrup for him. When I returned to the living room with a warm drink, Pei Mingqing was curled up in the blanket, his clothes and pants draped beside the stove. After consuming the syrup, a hint of color returned to his face. Nestled by the fire, he recounted a tragic tale of a young boy. The boy's mother had perished from excessive bleeding during childbirth, and his father, believing the child to be the cause of his wife's demise, neglected him entirely. Had it not been for the boy's grandmother, who took pity on him and raised him until the age of 6, he may not have survived. After reuniting with his father at the age of 6, the boy found himself subjected to his father's alcoholism and erratic behavior, receiving neither food nor care. Starving, he resorted to stealing money to buy food, only to be met with severe punishment when discovered. As he stumbled into middle school, he grew taller, and his father, no longer daring to strike him, continued to withhold sustenance. The man even proclaimed that since elementary and middle school education was compulsory and inexpensive, he would send the boy to work in a factory after graduation to earn money for his drinking habits. During the boy's first year of middle school, a stranger, a woman, arrived at their home. Remarkably, the boy's father, who typically drank heavily, was in high spirits and urged the boy to greet her. "Say hello to your aunt." The boy sensed that this unfamiliar woman was meant to replace his mother, a notion he found difficult to accept but felt powerless to resist. As the woman's belly grew, the father's smile widened, yet his impatience only surfaced when he interacted with the boy. The woman gave birth to a baby boy the previous night, and the father cradled the infant with affection. Upon seeing the new child, the woman's smile faltered, and she confronted the boy's father. "You've raised him to this age. You've done more than enough. Do you intend to support him for life? What about me and our little one?" Faced with the choice between his unappealing eldest son, a charming wife, and an adorable newborn, the man swiftly made his decision. He summoned the boy, revealing his disdain. "You are my son, and I have cared for you until you finish middle school. That is more than enough. From now on, you must fend for yourself." The boy and his father quarreled fiercely, and he dashed out into the rain, wandering aimlessly for a considerable time until he found himself standing before that familiar door. In the bitter wind and relentless rain, the youth slowly raised his arm and knocked on the door. I gazed at the boy before me, his head bowed. He resembled a clam, revealing his hardened shell to expose the myriad wounds of his heart. This was both an act of vulnerability and a plea, an appeal for compassion, for love, for an elder who could perceive his inner turmoil, accept his frailty, and embrace his tender thoughts. I took the towel hanging around his neck and pressed it against his still dripping hair, vigorously rubbing it dry. The boy, his hair now tousled, remained obediently seated on the chair, his dark, bright eyes blinking as he froze, awaiting my judgment. "I have never raised a child before. You can simply call me Aunt." No sooner had I spoken than Pei Mingqing's eyes lit up with excitement. He bashfully scratched his head and softly called out to me, "Aunt." His obedient demeanor was utterly endearing. That very night, Pei Mingqing began to reside in my home. The following morning, he awoke early, preparing porridge and running outside to buy steamed buns, which he placed in the steamer to keep warm. After finishing breakfast and tidying up, I noticed him entering with a suitcase and a large backpack. Despite a bruise adorning his face, he walked in with vibrant energy. Upon entering, Pei Mingqing pulled out 3,000 yuan from his pocket and handed it to me. Fearing I might misunderstand, he hastily explained, "This morning, I went back and told that man that if he did not provide me with living expenses, I would inform Aunt about his drinking and gambling. He gave me 3,000 yuan and told me to leave and take care of myself. Aunt, since he told me to go, I came here." I affectionately ruffled his hair. "You clever boy, you keep the money for yourself. I don't need it." Pei Mingqing reluctantly tucked the money away and helped me with the vegetables until it was nearly time for class, when he hurriedly slung on his backpack and dashed off. I remained oblivious to when he had slipped the money to me, but when I checked my wallet as I set up my stall, I found it stuffed to the brim. Opening it revealed a roll of bills. I felt a mixture of amusement and exasperation, shaking my head as I carefully tucked the money away, planning to give it to him when he goes to university. When I expressed my intention to adopt him, I was certainly not jesting. However, having never raised a child before, I pondered for a while and decided to take him for a haircut and buy him 2 sets of clean clothes, ensuring he was well presented. Clothes make the man, as they say. After my efforts, Pei Mingqing attracted even more attention from the girls, and my stall was perpetually crowded. Pei Mingqing thrived in his studies, and our living room became adorned with certificates of achievement as he brought home stacks of them each semester. In the first semester of his 3rd year of middle school, he achieved the top score in the school, successfully passing the entrance exam for a prestigious high school. Not only would his tuition be waived for 3 years, but the school would also offer scholarships and financial aid if he maintained stable grades. To celebrate his accomplishments, I took him to an amusement park for a day of fun. Although he protested that spending money on an amusement park was a waste, the curiosity and excitement in his eyes were unmistakable. I playfully tapped his shoulder. "You little rascal, Don't be coy after getting a good deal. I was unsure what he had been eating lately, but he had shot up considerably, now towering over me by a substantial margin. Pei Mingcheng lowered his head, sweetly massaging my shoulders. Thank you, my beautiful and charming aunt. Can we go in now? Let us go, let us go. Let us have a great time today. And when you're tired, I'll treat you to something delicious. I had a preference for the less thrilling rides, such as the spinning coffee cups, while Pei Mingcheng, appearing to be a reserved scholar, secretly harbored the spirit of a lively youth, eagerly seeking out roller coasters and thrilling rides. I, however, prefer to sit back and wait for him to enjoy himself. Based on my incomplete tally, Pei Mingcheng rode the roller coaster 3 times, the swinging pendulum twice, and the drop tower twice. After waiting in line for 30 minutes, he enjoyed only 3 minutes of thrills. Surprisingly, he showed no signs of hunger during lunchtime, eagerly gazing up at the roller coaster tracks while waiting in line. By the time I returned from the Ferris wheel, Pei Mingcheng was clutching his rumbling belly, eagerly anticipating my return. For dinner, I treated him to McDonald's, where he devoured 3 hamburgers, several chicken nuggets and wings, and washed it all down with 2 large cups of cola, finally collapsing in satisfaction in his seat, his long legs nearly stretching under the opposite table. Fortunately, I had the foresight not to buy him an excessively large cake. When I presented a 6-inch cake, Pei Mingcheng sat up straight in excitement. He bumped his knee but paid it no mind, his gaze fixed intently upon me. I retrieved the candles bearing the number 16, placed them atop the cake, and lit them, urging him to make a wish as he stood motionless. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and wish. Pei Mingcheng sniffed, interlaced his fingers, closed his eyes, and silently made his heartfelt wish. Upon opening his eyes, he blew out the candles. From my bag, I produced a somewhat rough-knit sweater and handed it to him. In our tradition, we knit a sweater for children. My skills are lacking, and it may not be visually appealing, but I assure you, it is made from pure wool and will keep you warm. Trembling slightly, Pei Mingcheng accepted the sweater. He caressed the soft and comfortable fabric, unable to resist pressing his face against it, nuzzling it affectionately. Setting the sweater down, he enveloped me in a tight embrace. Just as I contemplated escaping his hold, the child burst into tears, calling out to me in a choked voice, "Mom." I sighed, gently stroking the back of his head.
Oh, Mom.
Oh, Mingcheng, be good.
Mom.
Oh, I'm here. 10 years later, the young and accomplished business mogul, Pei Mingcheng, returned home after a long day. In front of others, he exuded a cool and reserved demeanor, yet upon entering his home, the first thing he did was call out loudly, "Mom, I'm home." I emerged from the kitchen, wielding a metal spoon, the passage of time having merely added a few strands of white to my hair. I beamed at Pei Mingcheng. Mingcheng is back. Tonight, we're having 3 delicacies and corn rib soup. It will be ready shortly. Pei Mingcheng's lips drooped in a semblance of complaint. All right. Enough with the pity party. The fried rice won't wait for you to return. Hearing that fried rice was on the menu, his eyes sparkled, and he eagerly rushed to my side, kneading my shoulders and showering me with sweet words. I knew Mom loved me the most. Beautiful, charming, gentle, and generous Mom. Can I add a hot dog to my fried rice? Sure, how about some lao gan ma? Just a little less, Mom. I've been feeling a bit overheated lately. I heated the oil, cracked the eggs, pressed the rice flat, stir-fried it evenly with a pinch of salt, added lao gan ma and hot dog, stirred again, and sprinkled in some green onions before serving. Pei Mingcheng, as always, stood by the stove eagerly awaiting his meal. Once the fried rice was dished out, he took the plate and sat at the dining table, devouring it ravenously, occasionally exclaiming, "Delicious, truly fragrant." I sat beside him, shaking my head in exasperation as I tapped his forehead. After 10 years, how can you still crave fried rice? Aren't you tired of it yet? Pei Mingcheng swallowed a mouthful, his bright eyes squinting into crescent moons. How could he ever tire of it? During countless hungry nights in middle school, it was the thought of the fried rice he would enjoy the next day that had helped him persevere. The fried rice made by Mom was something he could savor for a lifetime. The end. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and give a thumbs up to support us. Until we meet again in the next story.